Hello and welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 53.
Starring
Jimbo.
and Fisher.
And we've entitled this podcast, Video Killed the Podcasting Stars.
We have indeed. And what's that a reference to?
It's in reference to our national fame. That's right, national fame. Us two, you might have seen our faces before somewhere. If you happen to be watching the BBC News at lunchtime, when you probably should have been working or doing something more important. And when was it? What date was it? Have you got the date? Can you remember?
You know what? I can't even remember.
It's supposed to be important.
I was struck by fame that much. I think it was 29th of January, maybe the 30th of January. I will find out.
But we were on the news, weren't we? And you, Fisher, thought we'd be pushed down to look local, and we weren't. Look north, which is our local news in Chapeltown. Well, not just Chapeltown, but the
Yorkshire.
Sort of Yorkshire region in general. Fisher thought we'd be relegated to that, but I said, no, I don't think so, I think we're going to make national news with this, and we did, didn't we?
29th of January, 2020. We were there.
We finally
national news.
We finally hit the big time, haven't we?
Yep. I mean, we are recording this podcast again, by the way, if you're listening purely to the audio version.
The children are okay now. I'm only joking. That's not what we're on the news for. No, of course, we were on the news for being regular train moaners, weren't we, basically?
Yep. Talking about Northern Rail.
Yep.
I think Northern Rail, it was announced they'd lost the franchise at about 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we appeared on the news by about 1:15.
Exactly. That's how ready and prepared we were. Or not us, the news reporter, Danny Savage, was particularly prepared for it, weren't he?
He got his video prepared.
Yeah.
What did you think to the news? Did you watch it? Did you think to the news report?
I thought it was a pretty good news report.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed they cut a lot of our material out.
Yeah, particularly the reference to the podcast got cut out, which I thought was a bit disappointing.
Did we mention that in the last episode?
We did, yes. I mentioned the waste of web space and how we crowbarred it in.
But they didn't leave much good stuff in, really, did they? But...
No, there was a line that I put in about rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, which managed to stay in. Yeah, they love a good soundbite on the news, don't they?
A few friends did say that a few people commented that it looks like from the freeze, if you're watching it on silent, or if you just sort of froze the images, it looks like I am Fisher's lawyer, and Fisher's just managed to get out of court, so...
You've said a few people have said that. I'm not aware of anyone that's actually said that. I think you're just making that up.
No, my friends have said that. It does look like you've just come out of court.
Well...
But anyway...
I haven't. I've just been... I'd had another treacherous journey on the Northern Rail train.
Which is just as difficult as coming out of court.
But it was noticeable that come the sort of 6 o'clock news, when they'd actually got a chance to go and get more footage.
Oh, they didn't bother with us, did they?
No, went to Leeds train station instead and talked to people there.
So, I mean, it got to 6 o'clock, didn't it? And I tweeted to everybody saying, watch out, we're going to be on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah.
And we went. So I said, never mind, we've probably been relegated to Look North. Yeah. So that came on, and we weren't on that either.
No.
And Fisher was hoping we'd be on at least Look Chapeltown, which isn't actually a thing. I stayed up to the 10 o'clock news, thought perhaps we'll be on that. No, Did you really stay up for that? No, we're not on that either.
Didn't make it to that either, but never mind.
But we've still got national news, that's the main thing.
Did anyone message you at the time saying you're on the news?
Quite a few, well... I say about 2 people did. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
somebody
on LinkedIn of all places.
Really?
Somebody who'd seen one of my presentations before on LinkedIn had got in touch with me, and they said they saw me on the news. Mm-hmm. And my dad, of course, because he stays at home watching telly nowadays. He's semi-retired.
Yeah.
Same as your dad.
Yeah. No longer working at Schweppes.
No, of course not.
But I got text messages from both my mum and my dad, and that was it.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about your dad, we've got a new listener to the podcast.
Have we? Okay. Yeah. My dad?
No, not your dad.
No.
A work colleague of your dad. So,
all right, okay.
Hello to Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Who? Well, we just waved to her. I think she's actually listening on the audio version.
Yeah, she's not
whilst driving in the car.
She's not sat over there. She's waving to the camera as if she's going to be watching it.
I think even if we do wave to the camera, I think she's purely an audio listener as opposed to a video.
Well, it's an audio wave as well in that case then.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did get recognised though.
Okay.
I did get recognised for being on the national news. I was in Asda. Beep.
Yep.
Beep. Beep. I don't normally make that noise in Asda, just on this occasion.
Were you reversing?
So I was scanning my items, and this fella came over and he went, "I've seen you on BBC News. You made national news, you did." So, getting recognised by strangers in Asda. So, I say strangers. but it's Darren who works in Chapeltown Asda, who everybody knows. He's more famous than us, to be fair, isn't he? He's a legend, isn't he? Do you know he's got his own racehorse?
Has he?
He has got his own racehorse called Sabrina.
Really?
So he's part of like a team racehorse thing where they've all got their own part of a racehorse.
Well, you said
I don't know which part he owns, if he owns one of the legs or...
You wouldn't want to hand the mouth, would you? You wouldn't have to be responsible for feeding it.
Exactly.
Or the arse ends, he has to like pick up all his crap off the floor. I mean, just like, shoes or something.
But if Darren is listening, we'll give him a big shout out as well, shall we?
Yeah.
Hi, Darren.
Hi, Darren.
Speaking of Asda, it's also not long. Only like I think it's something like 6 or 5 or 6 years ago this month that I went viral on Asda's Facebook page because they posted a photo of me in an Asda apron wearing nothing else but an Asda apron, holding up some onion barges.
We should probably point out that the only reason they posted that photo of you naked, barring the fact you're wearing an Asda apron, is because you sent it to them.
I did, and it caused me a bit of havoc at the time because I was working as a
naked butler,
school's liaison officer.
Oh, right.
as you do, and I was in the school, and a child went to me, "I've seen you naked in an apron on the Asda website, on the Asda Facebook page." So I got an email a couple of days later from one of the teachers in the school expressing concern, but I had to explain it wasn't that kind of photograph. It was a jokey, quite close up. You can't see my bottom half.
You saw some armpits, and that was about it.
Exactly, yeah. So, but yeah, the whole idea was I was kind of promoting some fancy products from Asda, and strange it should come up again. I went for I went for a little job interview. I did at a place that Asda is a partner of Asda, and I was that excited about it that I actually got out my phone and showed them a picture of me in an Asda apron naked.
Oh, well.
So, in a job interview.
Yeah, I assume you've not got that job then.
Not heard anything back yet,
okay.
So that's...
What a surprise that is.
That's that anyway.
But did you see the Member of Parliament who was speaking in the House of Commons the other day? And the shoulder on her dress just came down a little bit.
I did.
So she had an exposed shoulder.
She had an exposed shoulder. The shock
in the House of Parliament.
The shock of it.
Yeah.
And what's she gone and done? She's done a good job of it, and she's gone and auctioned it off.
What, a shoulder?
No, well...
the dress.
The dress, of course, and raise some money for charity from it.
Well, congrats, well done.
Yeah, I think that's good going. What's to drink? Well, Fisher, we were tempting to call this a snotcast, weren't we? Because we've both been ill.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see we sit in quite close proximity. I think there was a little bit of cross-contamination in the last podcast. Mm-hmm. Might have to look at the footage and see if anyone sneezed on each other, because we've both ended up over the past week or so quite ill, haven't we?
Under the weather, yeah.
So yeah, so I'm not sure what's gone off there, but anyway, so what have we got to drink? Here we go.
So what have you got?
I've got this
bottle opener.
Full Moon. Can you see that on there? Full Moon. Yes, I'll open the bottle, and it is from Chantry Brewery. It's a pale ale, and it has been a full moon recently.
There's generally one every month, so yeah.
I've seen a lot of people taking photos of the moon in particular this month because it's really big. Mm-hmm. It's brewed with American and New Zealand hops. It delicately balances flavours of lemon, blackberry pine and grapefruit. Contains barley and wheat. Got to let people know, aren't they? And it's made at Parkgate in Rotherham.
Oh, well,
so
very
quite
good.
A local one for us there.
Very local.
There you go. So that's would you say Chantry or Chantry?
Chantry, I think.
Chantry.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'll be drinking some Emerge Isotonic Energy Drink.
Is that brewed locally?
I don't think so, no. It's just like, it's like a cheap version of Lucasade, basically, being it from Costco instead.
You know what I found out the other day that I'd never heard before? Iron Brew. Do you know it's some of it's made in Sheffield?
I didn't know that, no.
So, I mean, I know, steel, the city of metal and all that, but Iron Brew.
Yeah, it should be stainless steel brew then, shouldn't it?
Exactly, you'd think so.
Iron Brew.
But do you know... I was trying to think this other day. I have tasted Iron Brew before, but I can't for the life remember what it tastes off and what even is it.
Obviously it's a fizzy drink, but I think it probably hit a bit of fame a few years ago because in the general election in 2015, I think it was, there were a lot of SNP members of Parliament elected, and they had to start ordering more Iron Brew into the House of Commons canteen.
The Scottish describe it as their second national drink, behind whiskey,
milk.
Of course.
Yeah.
Milk. Anyway, but yeah, so there you go. That's a little bit on for drink newsfeed, but this is actually very nice. Apparently,
What's that like?
it has. Apparently, it's an award-winning beer. I mean, I think they always say that, don't they? Award-winning ales, 4.2%. Very nice.
I would say it does smell quite nice from here. I've still not had a drop to drink yet this year because having completed dry January, which I said I might continue and extend out anyway. I've been unwell, so I've still not had a drink over sort of 42 days.
Are you feeling you can still keep it going, or do you think you'll be dropping it soon?
I feel I'm doing all right, aside from the fact I feel horrifically unwell, but, which I don't think is down to lack of alcohol.
Speaking of beer, do you think Nigel Farage is sober yet?
I don't know. He's probably. I'm suspecting he was celebrating hard.
Yeah.
On the 31st of January. Did you? I mean, we've Brexited. We've left the European Union, but we still abide by all their rules.
We are now no longer a European podcast.
Yeah.
Well,
but we sort of are still in Europe, which is not
exactly.
the European Union.
Yeah. Okay.
Although we still abide by their rules at the moment, don't we? Which means that we're still effectively members of the European Union, except from the fact that we've got no elected representatives to fight our case for us. But
do you think podcasts could kind of still register to be part of the European Union? So me and you in this very room could be part of the European Union.
What are thoughts? I don't think you can
strike a deal with them.
Well, there's certain places on the Dutch and Belgian border, isn't there, that sort of are part in different countries where land's enclaved within. I don't see what the advantage would be for a podcast being in the EU anyway. We don't pay anyone anything anyway, so there's no.
Well, they could pay us.
Yeah, we want frictionless listenership with people within Europe. So, but when it actually happened, when Brexit happened, a lot of people set fireworks off.
They did.
11 o'clock. Do you know what the problem with that is?
You're not supposed to set fireworks off, are you? Really?
You can't. You're not allowed to set fireworks off after 11 o'clock unless it's bonfire night, New Year's Day, Chinese New Year, or
my birthday,
or Diwali, the Indian.
Right, okay.
Festival of Light, I think it is.
Yeah. What about one of the Queen's birthdays? She has got a lot of birthdays. Can you set fireworks off then?
Well, you can set it off, just not sort of after 11 o'clock at night.
Well, she'd be in bed anyway, wouldn't she?
You can set fireworks off any time, any day.
Yeah.
Except from after 11 o'clock, well, between 11 at night and I think 6 in the morning, something like that.
Right.
So
I could be on Chapeltown roundabout setting a firework off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon if I wanted to.
I'm not sure that's strictly true, but you would be setting it off at a legitimate time. You might not be setting it off in a legitimate place. You might get done for sort of a public order offence for setting off fireworks in the middle of a road.
Can somebody find that out for me?
Yeah.
I keep mentioning Chapeltown because we are, of course, Chapeltown's #1 podcast.
Yeah.
We named ourselves that because we're pretty sure there are no other Chapeltown podcasts.
If you're aware of any Chapeltown podcasts, then please do get in touch with us.
And then we'll happily take second place.
Yeah.
We'll not argue about it, will we? We'll
just take it automatically, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So what's been going on in the news this week, anyway?
I don't know, what do you want to start with?
Nicholas Parsons has died.
Yeah, the Just a Minute host.
Just a Minute host.
So
how do you feel about that?
I feel like it means we should have some sort of game where you talk about Nicholas Parsons' life for 1 minute.
For just a minute. And try and do it without hesitation, repetition or deviation.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea that wasn't pre-planned.
Okay.
So, you've got 1 minute. I'm going to start the stopwatch.
Okay.
Which will probably be backwards. Shall I hold it up to the screen? Are you ready? You ready to go for it?
Yep.
Your minute starts now.
Well, I'm going to talk about Nicholas Parsons for just a minute without hesitation, repetition or deviation. He hosted Just a Minute. Oh, I've repeated Just a Minute already. That's terrible, isn't it? He hosted that particular Radio 4 programme since 1967 for well over 50 years, and during the first 950 episodes, he never missed a programme. Fellow people who appeared on there included Derek Nimmo, Kenneth Williams, Peter Jones, Clement Freud, although I can't really mention him thanks to Project U-Tree, and more recently people like Paul Merton, Graham Norton, Tony Hawks. And it's a great institutional radio show. Aside from that, he also appeared on Sale of the Century with its famous slogan, "And now live from Norwich," where he tried to get people to buy toasters for a certain amount of money. And also, it was that particular programme that was the first time that Simon Cowell appeared on UK television. And what a shame, he also appeared again a few years later on other things like The X Factor and Pop Idol. Also, is something well known about this particular former presenter of the Radio 4 programme is that his father was a general practitioner from Grantham.
Very, very good. I enjoyed that. That was an interesting little tribute to Nicholas Parsons.
Do you want to finish that, what I was talking about?
Yeah, go on.
So
just a minute and 10
just a
seconds.
minute and a bit more. So his father was allegedly a general practitioner from Grantham, and Do you know who famously comes from Grantham? Probably the most famous person born in Grantham in the last 100 years.
Leslie Grantham.
Not Leslie Grantham, no. That would be good though, wouldn't it? Maybe, yeah. Leslie from Grantham. Maggie Thatcher.
Of course.
From Grantham, so obviously it's born in the same place as Nicholas Parsons. And it's alleged that Nicholas Parsons' father also helped to deliver Margaret Thatcher. And what a shame it wasn't the case that he shoved her back in. But no, I don't think it's actually true.
I know, I only meant that deliver to Downing Street, deliver her from the from the birth canal, or
yes, from the birth canal.
Right,
is what I meant. But I don't think it's true that was actually the case that he did deliver Margaret Thatcher. But I think he was the family general practitioner.
Well, I enjoyed that. That was a lot of information about Nicholas Parsons in a minute, as would be the style.
It's a shame that I've repeated just a minute. But
on the first few sentences as well. So what would have happened on the radio show then?
Someone would have buzzed in and they'd have started talking on the subject.
Oh,
and they'd carried on speaking about it, yeah.
What for the rest of the minute, or do they have a full minute as well?
Well, they go for the rest of the minute, and then obviously if they don't manage it with 20 seconds to go, someone will buzz in, they'll speak for the last 20 seconds.
Well, I should have been ready then, shouldn't I? To buzz
you should have been, yeah.
But I don't know as much about Nicholas Parsons as what you do.
Well, yeah, interesting that he used to hold the world record. You know what for?
For talking for a minute non-stop without...
Not quite. For quite the opposite.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, not the opposite. An extension of that. He held the world record for the world's longest after-dinner speech.
Right, okay.
Him and Giles Brandreth kind of got involved in a competition where they kept breaking the record from each other. And it was declared a tie eventually.
I wouldn't want to be at those dinners.
With two very old, boring men speaking.
It's good job it weren't a before dinner speech. You'd be starving, wouldn't you? Anyway, what are we going to go with next?
What else has been happening?
Should we talk a bit of football?
A bit of banter,
bit of footy
bants.
Yeah. What should we?
We love our bants, don't we?
We do love our football banter.
But apparently, if you work in an office, you've got to be careful if you give out footy banter.
You have.
Because apparently it can make people feel left out if they don't like football.
It can make people feel very, very extremely excluded when people talk about football. I mean, it happened to me the other day. I was sat there in the office and, I'd been probably quiet for about 4 hours. And when the Love Island chatter stopped, I just nipped in with a bit of, did you see the football last night? And oh my God, I got shot down from a mighty height for talking a bit about football. I should have thought about who was around and been a lot more inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, what do you think about Love Island anyway? No, we're not talking about Love Island. But it's a hot topic in the office. I mean, people were saying...
What, Love Island?
Yeah.
Oh, and football.
And football.
Yeah.
The person who was talking about it, I can't remember what the lady's name was, but she said when people are having conversations about VAR, people can feel left out, and it can cause a lot of upset in the office and a lot of disagreement. I think, well, I agree, because in our office we're a bit split as to whether VAR is rubbish or terrible. We just can't make our minds up, and it causes divisions.
I mean, there is a bit of truth in it, isn't it? I don't think the way forward is banning football talk.
Do you not think it's
a touchline ban?
Yeah. Just give it a yellow card.
You have to stand outside the office and you can't actually come into work. You've got to just stand outside.
Just sit on the mobile phone outside and...
Yeah, bring in yellow and red cards instead maybe, or send you to the sin bin.
Do what Jose Mourinho did at that time and get inside the laundry bin and get pushed into the changing rooms.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably actually a skill involved in when you're speaking to people, actually speaking to them about things that they like and they have an interest in.
Yeah, I think it's about trying to, sort of be aware of who's around you and not being too over the top with it. I don't think you can have people controlling conversations, and that's a dangerous world, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
If people are going to start actually banning certain types of conversations,
So, should we move on? Should we talk about...
Let's talk about boobs and tits. Okay. No, I'm joking.
Definitely, yeah. So, let's talk about the Home Secretary. Now, a lot of people during the election campaign were saying, how could we possibly have Diane Abbott being Home Secretary? So we've not got Diane Abbott, so we've got Priti Patel, who's the Conservative Party's Home Secretary. And there was a terrorist incident in, I think it was Streatham in London, just over a week ago, where someone who'd previously been locked up had bought a kitchen knife from a shop, or taken a kitchen knife from a shop. I hope he bought it. I mean, I'd be really annoyed if he actually stole the kitchen knife and used it to commit an offence. Should have bought it as opposed to stealing it, because that's two offences that he's committed there. And he started stabbing people, and Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, went on TV. And do you know what I found out about Priti Patel? She doesn't know the difference between terrorism and counter-terrorism. She said, this person has been arrested and locked up previously on counter-terrorism offences. And then it's
on anti-terrorism offences.
Counter.
So they're saying he's been trying to... He's been locked up for trying to prevent terrorism.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
right, okay.
And then she said, and we're doing more in terms of counter-terrorism, protecting the victims of counter-terrorism. And she said, it's not just kind of, you can say things accidentally sometimes, can't you? But she said it in the interview about 8 or 9 times. So
You're only the Home Secretary, aren't you? You know
what kind of important job is that? Well, afterwards she said that she had to dash off because she wanted to go to the chemist to go and buy some wrinkle cream.
All right, yeah.
Just to make herself look a bit younger. And then there was a problem with the computer, so she needs to update the virus software on there just to make sure it's all right. But yeah, so yes, that amused me this week.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're speaking about sort of our MPs and politicians and so on. There's been a bit of a confusion, hasn't there, recently? In was it a news report, weren't it? I think that somehow managed to confuse some
Labour MPs.
2 Labour MPs.
Well, yes, there were 2 Labour MPs. There was a Labour MP who was talking on the news, and I've got the names written down here. Hang on, where are we? Here we go.
You got them mixed up, Fisher.
well, I've not got names mixed up because I don't know what the names are in the first place. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not discriminating against anyone there. I just don't know who they are. So the BBC Parliament channel briefly mistook Marsha de Cordova for Dawn Butler in an on-screen caption during the debate on Monday a few weeks ago. And obviously that's quite an embarrassing mistake to make. But sometimes live TV, so the mistakes happen. I think they apologised later on. However, that night, the Evening Standard decided to report on it. And do you know what they did? They put a photo up there of a completely different MP. It was Bel Ribeiro Addy.
So they got it wrong as well?
They got it wrong as well.
Right, okay.
So that was a bit embarrassing. But in terms of MPs being in the news, have you seen about David Cameron?
Yeah. What you told me about David Cameron just before the podcast, but the fact he still has to have armed guards following him.
He has to have armed guards. Well, he has to have armed protection officers still. Apparently, all prime ministers do. As part of stopping being a prime minister, the Metropolitan Police still provide armed protection.
For...
I believe so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What, so John Major's still got somebody following him around with Gordon Brown?
Believe so, yeah.
Seems quite, I don't know, a bit of a... Do you think it's needed?
I don't know. Possibly not for John Major or Gordon Brown.
I mean, I can see David Cameron might need it for a long time after the whole Brexit thing he kicked off.
After his mistakes. But yeah, apparently he was on a plane, his armed guard, and his armed guard went to the toilet, came back to his seat, and forgot that he'd left his passport, David Cameron's passport, and a gun in the toilet. It was a bit embarrassing when we went to the toilet in the first place because David Cameron had been in there with a pig anyway. But then, yeah, he sort of walked back to his seat and forgot that he'd got a gun in there. And then the next person to go in went to the toilet and thought, oh, there's a gun in the former Prime Minister's passport here.
You think the air hostess walked in and went into the toilet and went, oh, it's loaded. It's loaded in here.
But yeah, that's a bit embarrassing. But then, that said, I suppose, served David Cameron right. He left his kid in the pub once, didn't he? So he can hardly take the moral high ground on that front.
Explosive poos, anyway.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's another thing here then. So, Jermaine Jenas has been sort of predicted as the future replacement for Gary Lineker because he's done a little bit of replacement work for Gary Lineker, can't he? Or like stepped in for Gary Lineker.
Has he started talking about politics on Twitter all the time?
Possibly, maybe. But yeah, he's replaced Gary Lineker for, was it 1 episode or something like that? Has it been done yet, or is it to happen soon? But because of that, people are saying that he's potentially the future replacement for Gary Lineker.
Is he going to be? Is Gary Lineker on winter break the same as the Premier League?
It could be the case. Yeah, because there's only a couple of games each week now, isn't there? So
yeah, I think they're doing the break, but they're doing it in 2 halves. It's a game of 2 halves, as they say in football. Half the teams play 1 week and have a break next week, and half the teams have a break and then they're playing the next week.
And if he's replacing him on Match of the Day, does he have to replace him on the crisp adverts as well?
I don't think he takes over his entire life. I don't think he's got to act as a father to sort of 4 children and all that sort of stuff.
They used to call it Salt and Lineker, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it'd be like genus and and onions.
No, that's not going to work, is it? I remember Smokey Beckham that time.
Yeah.
Cheese and Owen.
There was Cheese and Owen. Was Smokey Beckham
actually, Smokey Beckham might not have ever made it.
Yeah.
It might be a bit too classy to do that. God, imagine saying David Beckham's too classy to do something.
Definitely going to have to think of a crisp flavour for Jermaine Jenas, so.
Yeah, that'll be. If anyone would like to write in and get in touch with us, then that'd be an opportune
Any contribution to the show is much appreciated. They're also looking for a new voice of Peppa Pig, so potentially Jermaine Jennings could step in there as well.
Yeah. No, Gary Lineker now has not got any work to do.
Well, there you go, yeah.
But the person who plays the voice of Peppa Pig, I think she's about 18, and she's been doing it since she was 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, and I remember seeing a story not long ago that this girl who plays the voice, and my daughter's a massive fan of Peppa Pig, loves Peppa Pig. I have to watch Peppa Pig all the bloody time. But anyway, the girl who plays Peppa Pig's voice, so just a voiceover artist, when she turned 18, one of the newspapers, let us guess, probably The Sun, did a news article about, look, here she is, voice of Peppa Pig, looks unrecognisable as she hits the town. Like, what did they expect to look like? Did they expect it to be like a big pig?
Have a big pink face and both eyes on the side of her head like Peppa Pig.
I don't know what they were imagining, but anyway, yeah, that I remember that being quite a memorable thing. And do you want to there's a couple of things I want to finish on, but seeing as we are obviously in Sheffield, there's been a news story recently, hasn't there? About a Sheffield
bus driver,
retired bus driver.
Yeah.
So he was a retired bus driver, and he went to some sort of, was it like a staff reunion sort of thing?
No, he bumped into the man is called Len Whiffen, who's 81 years old, and we thought we'd give it a bit of publicity just in case his potential beau is listening to this.
Which is very, very unlikely.
Quite unlikely, yeah. He thinks she's living in a care home, to be honest, but you never know. Could be big in care homes, us. Len Whiffen, who's 81, met his former colleague May, completely by chance at the bottom of the moor in Sheffield on a Wednesday afternoon in May last year. So she's called May, and he met her in May, so yeah. It's a shame. Imagine if she could have been called June, April, but yeah, she's called May, and he met her in May last year.
And they kind of hit it off, didn't they? They sort of had a bit of a sort of reminiscing, laughing and joking.
They worked together for South Yorkshire Transport in the 1970s, and they met up and they had a great time. Had a fantastic time. And when they said goodbye, she asked for a kiss, but he didn't. He was a bit too embarrassed.
He was too shy, wasn't he?
Didn't give her a kiss. So it's something he regrets. But now every Wednesday afternoon he goes back to the same spot in the hope of seeing her again. Because he just can't get in touch with her, so he's waiting around there. Isn't that sweet for the fairly stalkerish kind of fella waiting around for that lady?
If we did that, there'd be questions asked, wouldn't there?
Exactly, yeah. You can get away with it if you're a bit older and you've got the right intentions.
But of course, we do hope he finds her.
We do,
and maybe just in time for Valentine's Day.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be nice? So that on a overly commercialised, basically Hallmark day of the year, he can go and meet his long-lost lover, long-lost person he really likes.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. But anyway, and then to finish with, just a couple of stories. So I saw these two stories on the same day. So first of all, PG Tips might be selling up because apparently traditional tea sales, are declining. Well, things like peppermint tea and all the other sort of fancy teas and so on, specialist teas, they're on the rise. Traditional tea, black tea, is on the decline.
Really?
And that's because of things like coffee and so on as well. And on the same day, I saw that PG Tips. I saw that what they call them, the Tate Modern are advertising a job for the head of coffee.
Head of coffee.
So coffee's on the rise. They're even advertising for jobs like the head of coffee, while PG Tips is on the decline.
What does the head of coffee involve? Purchasing coffee and bringing it. Do you have to make coffee? Do you just buy it? Do you taste it? Test it?
I presume so, but it doesn't sound like a bad job, does it?
Well, it depends whether you like coffee or not. It's the kind of thing that can keep you awake at night.
But yeah, PG Tips. What?
Kind of thing that keep you awake at night.
Oh,
Coffee's high in caffeine. Come on.
I'll follow up anyway.
Yeah.
So, that brings me on to our next feature.
All right, okay.
You ready? What do you want? Do you want some sort of game show or something?
I'd like a symbol for that acknowledgement of the coffee keeping you up at night, yeah.
There we go.
Let's go for a game show theme.
Okay. Too serious?
Yeah.
Optimistic?
Yeah, go for that.
Okay. Welcome to... Whose job is it anyway?
Whose job is it anyway?
I thought of that on the spot.
Yeah.
Whose job is it anyway?
Which is another improvised radio programme.
Is
Similar
it?
to Just a Minute, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Whose job is it anyway?
Well, whose line is it anyway?
I was going to say.
Sent by Clive Anderson.
Yeah, so... What I thought is that that's quite a random job, isn't it? Head of coffee.
Yep.
At Tate Modern. So I thought I would find what other random jobs are out there, and you've got to. I was going to say, do you want to guess if these jobs are real or fake? But actually, it was harder to find fake jobs if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I thought what we'd do is do a bit of a higher or lower thing, and you've got to try and guess the job after it, if it's a higher wage or a lower wage than the one before it. But we'll have a quick chat about the jobs.
So it's like playing play your cards right, Bruce Forsyth, is it?
It is, yeah. Play your jobs right.
Yeah. Harder 7, harder 7.
I've had to do a lot of currency converting as well, because a lot of these jobs were, the wages were, they were written by American articles that I found the information from, so they were in US dollars to kind of show how much that is. But obviously that's different to the UK, so I've done a bit of currency converting for us as well. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to read a job out, and you can sort of have a guess what that job involves, and then start off by guessing the wage per year, and then we'll go from there, and you can guess whether the next one's higher or lower. Okay. So your first job then, Panda Nanny.
Panda Nanny.
What do you think a Panda Nanny does?
I think they look after police cars. No, I think they look after pandas. Although if it goes out of control, then you get complete and utter pandemonium. Mm-hmm. Is this something that might get Edinburgh Zoo? Because there's a couple of pandas there, aren't there?
Yeah.
Is it something that maybe happens in China? A lot of pandas in China. You might end up with the coronavirus if you're there at the moment. So yeah, I think look after pandas basically.
Yeah. So it was the China Giant Panda Protection and Research Centre in Yan, Sichuan Province. I think I said that right. In China, you've got the that's what they do. They basically look after pandas. Mm-hmm. But the sort of requirements were that you've got to be at least 22.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've no idea why pandas like 22-year-olds in particular. No idea why. And have basic knowledge of
pandas.
No.
Oh.
No, yeah, pandas. Yeah, basic knowledge.
It would help,
pandas. Yeah.
Only basic knowledge if you're looking after them. I'm sure you want an advanced knowledge. Mm-hmm. If there was ever a job that requires some kind of advanced panda knowledge, it'd surely be that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And all you need is a basic one.
We've got pandas in the UK, do you know? In Edinburgh Zoo.
I just said that.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Sorry. That's how much I listen to. You see, I don't even listen to... no one listens to us. I don't even listen to him. Yeah. So, when we're here. But pandas, like, traditionally were known for not being able to be very good at having sex and breeding, weren't they?
Well, they're a bit slow at things, I suppose, aren't they?
But then over the last few years, they have kind of got better at it, haven't they? There's not so much of a panda shortage anymore. They're not as endangered. They are endangered, but they're not as endangered as they were. They're kind of all over the place. I think I saw someone chat bridge the other day. But they're all over the place, aren't they?
I don't know. I'm not sure it's that much of a black and white.
All right, okay. Well, one of the pandas is particularly... one of them in the China Panda Protection Agency is particularly known for being quite horny. Would you know?
Right, okay.
Yeah. Often eats shoots and leaves.
Hey,
there we go. An oldie but a goldie, of course. And give himself another symbol because that weren't loud enough.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, that one. How much do you think they earn then, a Panda Nanny?
In China, I don't think China will pay as well as other places. I think they probably earn
per
year. I think they probably earn the equivalent of £15,000 a year.
It's actually £25,000 per year. It's not a bad job for bad wage for looking after pandas, is it? It's a great. I mean,
only basic knowledge.
The best thing of it is looking after the pandas, not necessarily the wage, is it? It's doing the panda job. I mean, everyone needs to earn money, but there you go. Next then, water slide tester. I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory, but you want to give it a bit more, guess a bit more about what they might do, what it involves?
Well, I suppose it depends where the water's coming from. They shout wee when they're going down. So I presume you sit on a water slide and go down it.
Yeah.
And your career will go down. Your career will go downhill faster than So I presume they get to some of these. Have you ever been to a water park?
I have, yeah.
Which one have you been to? Have you been to Siam Park in Tenerife?
Yeah, I think I have actually.
Yeah, it's a good day out there. Yeah. I would highly recommend. Mm-hmm. So that's a really good day. I mean, out of the water parks I've been to, that's easily the best one. Yeah. And I imagine if you're testing water slides there, that would be very good. So I think that's effectively what you do. You go to these specific water parks and just go down on the slides.
There you go.
And I don't think you will get a particularly massive wage for that because it's hardly skilled, is it? All you need to do is just obey the laws of gravity. So
you're thinking it might be a bit of a sort of kamikaze career move, maybe?
Yeah, I think you maybe get in. I think you maybe get in. Do I have to try and guess a wage, or just higher
so
or lower?
The last one was £25,000, so you can go higher and give a wage if you want.
I think it's low. I think it's going to be lower. I think we're probably talking about 18,000.
It's higher, so £26,000 they can earn a year, and it's basically, you kind of travel around different holiday resorts around the world, testing water slides and reviewing them a bit like a critic. So you kind of give it a rating based on adrenaline, based on the splash, based on the speed, and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, there you go. I once got pooed on at a water park. Not by a person, obviously, a bird, but anyway.
Yeah, flying down the slide and...
Next then. So this was a job...
So was that land on top of you?
So this was found advertised on a website, philipschofield.co.uk. Snake milker. I'm only joking, of course. We didn't mention Philip Schofield today,
we can't
did we?
say that. Oh, dear.
I'm joking. So, come on. Let's go. Snake milker. What do they earn?
Well, you expect that's quite a specialist job, isn't it? I mean, because I don't like snakes at all. Very...
Can you tell us what they might do?
Well, presumably milk the snake, but I don't quite know.
Can you show us how they might milk a snake?
No.
We've got the camera.
Absolutely not. I don't know what they milk them from. Where the milk comes out. Do they have mammary glands, snakes? Because not mammals, are they? Do they lay eggs?
Apparently they've got 2 penises.
Have they?
Yeah.
I
don't think that's what they're milking. I'm just saying that, but...
Are you sure it's not got one penis and the other one is just the snake itself? I think that would be... I think that'd be higher because it's so dangerous. You pay a premium for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Higher?
Higher.
You are correct. So a snake milker... they actually, what they do is they extract venom from snakes, which is for them producing antivenoms and for medical research. So they're not the snakes. It's all done environmentally friendly, so it's not anything animal. Well, I got this information from an environmental website, so I think it's something that they do for certain reasons of looking for venom to protect against real venom, and then they use it for medical research. But the snakes are all looked after properly and all that kind of thing. Apparently, that's what I've known.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it's for. And they earn...
So you went on snakemilkers.com to try and find this out, though?
£60,000 per year they can earn. And obviously, there's obviously a bit of risk involved with that job sometimes, depending on what snakes you're working with and so on. So
tend not to have a reputation of being very friendly, these snakes.
Exactly, yeah. Next, then.
Should we talk about Philip Schofield or not?
We can do if you want, yeah. I mean, it's a very, very brave thing for him to do, of course. Although I did find it quite, how many other people like me thought, oh, here we go, they're inviting Eamon Holmes on, what the hell's he going to say?
Do you know what he did say, Eamon Holmes?
Yeah.
He said, well, when they said Philip had got an announcement, he said, when they said, well, I'm not doing an impression, I'm not very good at doing an impression of Eamon Holmes, so when they said Philip had got an announcement, I thought, well, maybe he's going to resign and I'll be able to do this show 4 days a week. Because he did it on Friday. He doesn't even work on a Friday, Philip Schofield. Came in a special on his day off.
Right, okay.
Just to be interviewed by Holly Willoughby, who wasn't meant to be working either. It meant to be Ruth Langsford and Eamon Holmes doing it on a Friday. That's all that about.
There you go. But yeah, very brave of him to do so. And I'm sure he's done a lot for the LGBTQ plus and anything else, because it does change quite quickly, doesn't it? Community. So yeah, I think it's a very brave thing for him to do. But yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
So, next then. A famous cat agent. You've got a cat, haven't you?
I've got a cat.
Is it famous?
Nope.
Does it need an agent?
Nope.
Okay.
She needs someone to feed her, and that's about it. I think that's all she's really bothered about. Because there are famous cats, aren't there? I mean, I think we mentioned a few weeks ago, Karl Lagerfeld got a very famous cat. So I don't know if he had an agent for his cat. I think it could be a potentially lucrative... Yeah, you can get millions of pounds for... sort of cats doing work, so I think you could get a lot, but at the same time, it's probably an enjoyable job. So I'm going to say you get less than £60,000 for it.
Less?
Less.
Wrong. Well, I mean, I suppose it's how good you are as an agent with this one, really. But the example that I've got, a man called Ben Lashers. He was the agent for Grumpy Cat. Remember Grumpy Cat?
Right, okay, Grumpy
now
Cat,
dead. So won't be any much money off it anymore. But actually, he got 20% of its sort of fees, and it earned.
Well, they've got the other 80%.
Well, it earned $2 million. Well, the owners probably.
Oh, okay.
But it earned $2 million. The cat, and then he took 20% of it. So no wonder it was grumpy. That's quite a big cut, I think. So that for him would have been, in English terms, that 20% would have been £154,000. But that was just one client. He also had other clients. Which I can't remember the names of, but different people who were a bit gimmicky and sort of internet stars and stuff like that, really.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of
thing. Next then, a bed tester.
Oh, well, now plenty of people who do this. So, do you think this is just generally involves lying in bed all day and seeing how comfortable the bed is?
Well, it was Travelodge who advertised for a director of sleep who would actually be able to nap as part of their job to test the quality of the bed and the pillows. So you actually need to sleep, not just lay on it and test it. You'd actually have to sleep in it to test the quality of your sleep.
Probably the only way you get me into a travel lodge, to be fair. Do you say a director of sleep? That implies you're getting quite a lot of money for it. But, I mean, it's one of those skills. I mean, is your opinion the right one? Do you might have a different body that might sort of view certain things to be comfortable, different people would think were uncomfortable. So, but I think because you're a director, I think you get more than that. I think you get... Actually, no, you said Grumpy Cat gets about 154. I think less.
You think less? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be less than that, isn't it? So there you go. Oh, no, you got it right. Yeah, there you go.
I think you might actually get a reasonable amount of money for it, though.
Yeah, you get £41,000 per year. That one was going for that job.
And 365 days annual leave, by the sounds of it.
Next, then, professional pusher. Do you know what one of these is? You should. This is very close linked to our struggles. Well,
Nicholas Parsons' father, I think, was involved in this, wasn't he? For delivering babies, is that right?
Oh, right. Okay.
No. Professional pusher. Is it something to do with pushing trains?
Not pushing trains.
Oh, is it pushing people onto trains?
Pushing people onto trains.
Particularly in India, I think it's quite popular in videos of that.
Japan, they have them. So this is Japanese roles that I've used here. So professional pushers, they get people onto trains when they're so packed. We do need them in Chapeltown, to be fair, don't we? So...
so I don't think you'll get paid that much. It's hardly a skilled job, is it? Just shoving people into and treating them with sort of no respect whatsoever. So I think that I think you get less than that.
No, you're correct. Sorry about that. Nearly got it wrong there. So yeah, you are correct. You get less than that, but actually, it's only 2 hours work per day. So they've probably got other jobs.
Purely rush hour work.
Yeah, basically like 9 o'clock, and I don't know what they do about rush hour
so
on my home. Yeah. But they push everybody on the train, and then they go. So like really, that's like £8 something an hour. So. Roughly works at about £4,000 a year if you work in most weeks. Yeah, £4,000 per year for that one.
I wonder if people actually are professional pushers whilst they're on the way to their actual job.
If they what, sorry?
Can commuters not take on that role of pushing people onto the train and they get on the end?
The commuters can't get on the train, then can they?
Well, they push people in that sufficiently well that they can get in themselves.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. They need to be pushed on so the doors can shut, so they have to shut the doors around them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's great now, isn't it? Talking that Northern Rail are going to lose their franchise on the 1st of March. They'll officially be giving it up. It's been taken over by the government. So, but it's also a bit sad that we'll not have anyone to moan at about.
There'll be a new Twitter account, won't there?
Yeah, possibly.
We'll look forward to messaging that.
I mean, we'll have someone new to moan at. We never moan about the government to anything, do we? Anything, and they'll be looking after the trains now as well. Yeah. So, anyway. Okay, next one then. So that's the professional pusher. What about an armpit sniffer?
An arm. Well, oh yeah. That's
do you know what they might do?
I wonder if they might test deodorant.
Good guess.
Is that
right? Antiperspirants.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure you have to be. How close do you have to get to people's arms?
Oh, very close from the pictures I've seen.
Right. Okay. You've not been on snakemilker.com again, have you? No. I think. So I think they must get paid more than that, 'cause it's not a very nice job, is it, smelling people's armpits?
So you think they get paid more than the £4,000 a year a train pusher would get? Okay.
Yep.
You'll be correct. Well done. For them, it works out about £14,000 per year.
For all?
Yeah, for sort of testing like sniffing people's armpits and so on. 14,000 a year. Is that about minimum wage?
Probably around that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, if you were doing it full time.
Yeah.
Obviously, minimum wage. Next then, professional mermaid. Or merman, of course.
Yeah. So does this? Well, obviously mermaids don't exist, so there aren't people who are half person, half fish.
Well, they're professional. They don't just exist. They're professional.
Well, you can be professional without actually. You can professionally intimidate, though, can't you?
I suppose.
I think that. So does this probably involve going to sort of children's parties and stuff, dressed as a mermaid and appearing as Ariel?
It's swim parties in particular. So right. They actually go swimming as a mermaid.
Yeah, with the bottom half. Yeah. So I think you probably. I don't think you can get paid that much. I think it's going to be lower than the 14,000.
Okay, well, you would be surprised.
Actually, if you're going
to. The most professional ones, the most popular ones, are getting like 35 grand per year because they're so popular, and they're quite expensive as well. Next then, watching paint dry. So married dad of one Keith Jackson had his job for 30 years. He might still have this job, but he was basically working for a paint producing company to test and time how long it took paint to dry. Mm-hmm. It's an important job, really.
Oh, well, everyone's got to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, not everyone's got to do it.
He also watched Sheffield Wednesday every weekend. No, I'm joking.
And often shouts out, "Get me a tin of paint." It's hardly no skilled job, is it? Just sitting there watching paint dry. But yeah, so someone has to do it. So I think it's going to be less than the Professional Mermaid.
So you would be correct, yeah. Not a bad wage though. £31,000 I've got down for that one. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, per year. There you go. But there's a lot of testing involved in it, and not just simply watching it. He has to do a lot of analysing.
He has to paint it on there in the first place.
Exactly, yeah. Next then, professional cuddler. So I found this job at www. It's a decommissioned website now. JimmySavile.co. No, I'm joking. Next, so professional cuddler. What do you think?
I think this could be a job. Do you think people might do that in London and go around and sort of try and motivate people by giving them free hugs? Is that right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be very well paid. I think it'd be less than the paint dryer.
Yeah, well done. So you're looking there at about sort of top wage, really, of about sort of 16 grand per year if you're particularly good at it. But I suppose, again, there is a bit of a new article here where some people have been describing themselves as professional cuddlers, but not doing much cuddling.
Really?
And doing a little bit more than cuddling.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
they're quite quite well paid, but I don't think it's a legal role anyway.
Okay.
But that's it. So just a few more that I'm not going to ask you to guess things on, but a couple more jobs I found I want to mention. You can hire a professional queuer to work for you. So that's someone who queues up, whether that's waiting to purchase the latest gadget or queuing at the post office.
Yep. And they'll play snooker for you.
Yeah. You can. That's £14 an hour. That job. You can. There was a job for an alibi provider. So you can go on a website and get an alibi. So if you need an alibi, which I don't know how that would be legal, particularly in some serious cases.
Wouldn't it just make sense for the police to actually run that website and see who's going on it and try and get an alibi for it?
Unless it was like, if it was people who needed an alibi for where they were, like... If they were up to no good and somewhere they shouldn't have been and, all that kind of thing, that kind of stuff.
In a civil matter as opposed to a criminal matter.
Yeah, domestic matter maybe, yeah. And then also an immigrant cook. So they basically host cooking classes.
We should not be cooking immigrants, okay?
They basically host cooking classes in their own homes to people who want to learn a different cuisine and culture. So I think it's quite a nice job. Yeah. But fancy that, coming over here, cooking our food.
Yeah.
There we go.
Time to move on and do a bit of a quiz. In the last episode, I don't think we've touched on it that much, but obviously Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are planning on sort of effectively leaving the royal family, so to speak. Sussexit, is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, weren't they calling it Megxit at one
Megxit,
bit? But that didn't really include Prince Harry in it, did it really?
Perhaps they don't want to be involved in it. But yeah, whatever you want to call it, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are planning on leaving the royal family. And a lot of people have said that some of the press stories, particularly in relation to Meghan Markle, are not fair, unjustified. She gets a lot of criticism that's unwarranted. So I thought I would go through various news stories that she's been involved in. I'll tell you the news story and a bit of extra information. You've got to say, is it true or is it false?
Okay.
If that's okay. Well, obviously, is it true that there was a story about it in the news?
Okay.
I mean, the story itself might be a load of rubbish, but yeah, it's kind of...
Okay.
So, in October 2018, The Express ran a story about Meghan's stance, saying that putting her hands in her pockets on a trip to New Zealand was a step too far.
And what newspaper was that?
The Daily Express.
I'm going to go with true.
You would be correct. Bit of extra information that Hello magazine once published on its front page a picture of the Queen who got her hands in her pockets. And everyone seemed fine with that.
Oh, right, okay. So Queen can do it.
Queen can do it, Meghan Markle not too keen.
Right, okay.
Following a visit to an orphanage in South Sudan in July 2018, Meghan was criticised in The Sun for sweating. They also showed a picture of Kate Middleton at a child's hospice in Edinburgh and noted that she wasn't sweating, commenting, "That's how you fulfill your royal duties whilst remaining cool."
She clearly needs to speak to Prince Andrew.
Yes,
about this because he doesn't sweat, so maybe you could pass on some tips about avoiding sweating and so on. So what newspaper was this one?
That was in the Sun.
Right, okay, so in that case I'm going to say true, because they would write some bollocks like that.
That is incorrect. I completely made that up.
But you wouldn't put it past them at the same time?
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, all I'd say is that I couldn't actually find a story in relation to this in the Sun. I'll say it doesn't happen, but I couldn't see anything on the news article I was reading about it. Prior to her wedding in 2018, May 2018, Harry and Meghan were taking part in a publicity stunt, according to the Daily Mail, by asking for donations to a landmine charity instead of wedding presents. When William and Kate did the same thing, the same paper described it as a selfless gesture. So, did they ask for true or false? Harry and Meghan asked for donations to a charity instead of wedding presents, and the Daily Mail sort of said that it was a publicity stunt. But when William and Kate did it, the Daily Mail described it as a selfless gesture.
And what was it for? What they asked for donations towards?
For Meghan and Harry, it was a landmines charity.
See, if people get that completely wrong and accidentally send them landmines, it could go pretty wrong. They've got to be very clear about what they want there.
When you put the box up and
so let's go. Yeah, I think that was a real story, and that was a real sort of
That is incorrect.
Okay. You do so well, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, to be fair, so many of the stories are total rubbish, even if they have appeared in the newspaper. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually true, but it's just that it has appeared there. In Style magazine wrote in October 2018 that Meghan Markle had broken royal shoe protocol by wearing a pair of wedges. The following year, Kate Middleton was praised for wearing such a versatile shoe as the wedge.
Were the wedges southern fried?
They got skin on.
Oh, right, okay.
But no, the popular shoe.
Oh, right, okay.
That consists of, it's sort of like the heel fully connected up to the front, I think, isn't it? That's my shoe.
I'm going to go that one then. Very similar to the hands in the pocket one, so it sounds like a realistic thing. Yeah, let's
Royal
go
protocol.
With that. Yeah,
you are correct. So yeah, criticised for wearing wedges. I think she wore them on the beach in Sydney, Bondi Beach. I can't remember where Kate Middleton wore them, but she was praise was lavished upon her for wearing those versatile shoes. So whilst on a royal visit to India in April 2017, Meghan was criticised in the Daily Express for speaking in Hindi to the locals. They said her attempts at speaking their language were patronising. The same paper praised Kate Middleton in 2015 for taking the time and effort to speak in Maori on a trip to New Zealand.
Oh.
So Daily Express, Meghan Markle spoke Hindi in India and was criticised for it.
Same paper.
Daily Express, same paper.
Let's go true.
That's wrong. Made it up.
I think I've only got one right so far.
Yeah, well, it's the taking part that counts.
Yeah.
Taking part that counts. On a trip to Cows Week, sailing festival on the Isle of Wight, in August 2018, Meghan was criticised by The Sun for joining in with the general activities at Cows Week, claiming that her mixing with the upper-class sailors was lacking the common touch and showed she lived in a privileged world.
So the Cows Week is...
Cows Week is... It's nothing to do with actual cows.
So is it where, like, you go and there's Theresa May, there's...
Yeah. Other people you could describe as a cow.
Yeah, basically.
No, it's not
I'm going to say the one, the other, I can't remember what you call her, the one who's just on Twitter and gives everyone abuse all the time. And
Katie Hopkins.
That's the one, yeah.
I think she's off Twitter now, isn't she?
Is she?
I think.
I saw that someone had made up an award for her.
I saw that as well. Yes. Yeah.
And the abbreviation of the award was CUNT.
Yes.
And it said it right behind it, didn't it? As she was collecting the award, which I thought was really funny. And they flew her out and everything to collect it. Yeah.
And obviously she was happy to accept it until she probably didn't realise it was a fake award. So Cows Week Festival is placing cows on the Isle of Wight as a sailing festival every year. Quite popular with general people who are into sailing, and the general sort of upper middle class people tends to be that crowd who are into it a little bit more. So yeah, she went to the Cows Week Sailing Festival in August 2018. Meghan was criticised in The Sun for joining in with general activities in Cows Week, claiming that her mixing with the upper class sailors was lacking the common touch and showed that she lived in a privileged world. The Daily Mail said in 2015 that Kate Middleton looked like she could fit into any social event when pictured in a similar situation.
I'm going to stick with true this time.
That's false.
How is this happening?
I made it up.
You made more up than the real. You're worse than the newspapers, you.
I think it's about a 50-50 split between what's true and false
Fair
on here. So, yeah, sort of completely made up, but obviously something again that feasibly could happen. So in January 2019, Meghan's love of the avocado led to the Daily Mail writing a piece saying that avocados fueled human rights abuse and murder. Previously, the Daily Express had written about how William had kindly given Kate an avocado to help her morning sickness.
I'm really confused. Why do avocados cause that? What do they cause?
Human rights abuses and potentially murder.
Why?
Well, I presume it's the growing of it somewhere along the lines that...
Not that.
Or the picking of it.
Are they painful to be struck by an avocado?
Why do you have to get hit by it? I just mean the actual growing and...
So not murdering people with avocados?
No, I presume it's sort of some kind of... perhaps avocados are like sort of growing... Drugs, yeah, in some...
All right, okay.
Perhaps it's a popular commodity.
Right, okay. Let's go true.
True. Well, it's a ridiculous story, so yes, it is true. We've got 3 questions left. Be nice if you can maybe get sort of at least one of these right.
I've just got one right then.
2 out of 7, I think you got so far. So, the fact that Harry and Meghan adopted a puppy in November 2017 led the Daily Express to refer to them as having the latest fashion accessory and raising concerns that someone else will have to look after the puppy when they are away on their royal duties. The Express had previously wrote in April 2016 that William and Kate getting a dog was the perfect addition to complete their family alongside Prince George and Princess Charlotte. So it's almost like
the newspapers are parents, isn't it? like liking really favouring one child but not the other, sort of thing. Oh, it bothers me that. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go. I'm saying that one's true as well.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
But no, that's false. That's fake news. I'll be honest. I don't know whether any of the royal couples have got dogs.
Right. Okay.
So I'm not too sure.
Oh yeah.
I know the Queen's got corgis, obviously.
Too many probably.
Yeah. But if there's any problems with the gas central heating, then they can pop in and do that, can't they? So that's all right. So the Daily Express wrote in May 2018 that the flowers at Harry and Meghan's wedding may have put Princess Charlotte's life at risk. They failed to mention that Kate Middleton and Camilla Parker Bowles both used the same flowers at their wedding.
Right. Is she allergic to certain flowers then? Is there a thing?
I don't know that.
Or is it just some... Is it...
I believe the story stated...
You once bought me some flowers.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. Not me directly, but you bought some flowers for my household.
Right.
And they were lilies.
Oh, right, okay.
And they are dangerous. And they do make a mess when they get old. I remember this. I never picked you up on that, did I?
Well, I think I'm dangerous to cats.
I mean, it was nice of you to buy the flowers in the first place. But yeah, so maybe it was something like... Let's go true.
You'd be right, it is true. Yeah, apparently that particular type of flower, if it's ingested, particularly by children, because children are probably stupid enough to ingest them.
Yeah, like lilies, they can be savage.
Yeah.
Well,
oh dear. Final question. At least you got something out of this round. Final question. The Spectator magazine wrote an article in November 2018 saying that Meghan Markle wearing a red coat at Remembrance Day service was lacking in class and particularly disrespectful given that it was the 100th year since the guns fell silent. The same publication praised Kate Middleton in 2014 for wearing a red coat, saying wearing something the same colour as the poppy was a fitting tribute to our veterans.
I think I've got into a bit of a habit of just going along with true with this, so I'm going to stick with my guns and I'm going to say true.
True. You are, of course, wrong. That was very much made up. And shortly afterwards, obviously, they went and completed doing the job at Butlins as well. So evening entertainment.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not aware of. I think she get criticised for something that she wore at
she does get a lot
headwear.
Of unfair criticism, doesn't she? That
not enough by the sounds of it.
You could you could argue is in effect racist. They can't do in a lot of the cases because and the same sort of thing with Raheem Sterling, isn't it? Sort of same sort of treatment that he gets compared to other footballers and so on. But yeah, there we go.
So that's some of the things that she's been accused of, or the double standards that have existed.
thank you for listening to our podcast today. I think that's everything, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Make sure you check out our Facebook page, wastedwebspace.co.uk, our Twitter account at wastedwebspace if you want to tweet us.
Hey.
Have a look at our video of us on the national news that Fisher's put online for us.
Stick your 1 o'clock lunchtime news on. We might pop up there at some point.
You never know.
Do you know? Obviously, no, I'm not being funny. Obviously, we're a bit annoyed about Northern Rail, the service we've got on the trains. But when push comes to shove, it's only like the train's not been running that well. It's not the worst thing in the world, is it? Do you know what the news reporter Danny Savage? Do you know what his next story was after he'd been talking about us going on the trains? He was talking about people who lived in the village of Skipsea, right on the east coast, and their houses were about to fall into the sea, basically, and they got no insurance, and if once a house fell into the sea, that was their entire life.
And there's us shamefully moaning that we get to work a little bit late each day. And
we have to stand too close to people on the train!
Well done for struggling through today. You've not been very well, have you?
I've managed through just.
I've not been very well. Sorry if we've sounded very snotty and very nasal. Mm-hmm. I think you've even got like a bit of indigestion coming on. Do you feel that a little bit?
No, I don't feel that bad. But yeah,
sure?
I feel like I need to take some more antibiotics and carry on.
I do feel like I've got a little bit of indigestion coming on. So it's good night from me. It's good night from him. The two Rennies.
Hey.